It's never too late to learn life's most valuable lessons, but the weight of missed opportunities can persist. Join me on a reflective journey as I, at 75 years old, share the wisdom I wish I had embraced in my youth. You only have to do a very few things right in your life, so long as you don't do too many things wrong. Warren Buffett. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. James Baldwin. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Peter F. Drucker. In real life, I assure you, there is no such thing as algebra. Fran Lebowitz. Never keep up with the Joneses, drag them down to your level. It's cheaper. Quentin Crisp. Nobody gets to live life backward. Look ahead, that's where your future lies. And Landers. Experience is not what happens to you. It is what you do with what happens to you. Aldous Huxley. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is the probable reason why so few engage in it. Henry Ford. We all think alike, no one thinks very much. Walter Lippmann. Don't go around saying the world owes you a living. The world owes you nothing. It was here first. Mark Twain. Amateurs wait for inspiration. The rest of us just get up and go to work. Chuck Close. Amateurs wait for inspiration. The rest of us just get up and go to work. Chuck Close. I am only an average man, but, by George, I work harder at it than the average man. Theodore Roosevelt. If you have a job without any aggravations, you don't have a job. Malcolm Forbes. In America, there are two classes of travel: first class and with children. Robert Benchley. There is no such thing as fun for the whole family. Jerry Seinfeld. Just be good and kind to your children. Not only are they the future of the world, they're the ones who can sign you into a home. Dennis Miller. A perfect parent is a person with excellent child-rearing theories and no actual children. Dave Barry. Instead of getting married again, I'm going to find a woman I don't like and give her a house. Rod Stewart. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Franklin D. Roosevelt. If you can give your child only one gift, let it be enthusiasm. Bruce Barton. If you are not yelling at your kids, you are not spending enough time with them. Reese Witherspoon. Nobody can do for little children what grandparents do. Grandparents sort of sprinkle stardust over the lives of little children. Alex Haley. The simplest toy, one which even the youngest child can operate, is called a grandparent. Sam Levinson. The older you get, the more you realize that kindness is synonymous with happiness. Lionel Barrymore. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. Robert Frost. Anybody who tells you money can't buy happiness never had any. Samuel L. Jackson. Happiness is good health and a bad memory. Ingrid Bergman. Happiness is having a large, caring, close-knit family in another city. George Burns. Don't wait around for other people to be happy for you. Any happiness you get, you've got to make yourself. Alice Walker. Happiness often sneaks in through a door you didn't know you left open. John Barrymore. Every cynic is a sentimentalist under the skin. Louis L'Amour. Nobody has ever measured, even the poets, how much a heart can hold. Zelda Fitzgerald. The only thing worse than being talked about is not being talked about. Oscar Wilde. Anyone can do any amount of work, provided it isn't the work he is supposed to be doing at that moment. Robert Benchley. There are no hopeless situations. There are only people who have grown hopeless about them. Claire Boothe-Luce. Pay no attention to what the critics say. A statue has never been erected in honor of a critic. Jean Sibelius. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Steve Jobs. In the end, it's not the years in your life that count. It's the life in your years. Abraham Lincoln. The world is extremely interesting to a joyful soul. Alexandra Stoddard. Not in doing what you like, but in liking what you do, is the secret of happiness. J.M. Barrie. To be without some of the things you want is an indispensable part of happiness. Bertrand Russell. It's not necessary to take a person's advice to make him feel good. All you have to do is ask it. Richard Armour. I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Maya Angelou. There is only one certainty in life, and that is that nothing is certain. G.K. Chesterton. Make it a rule of life never to regret and never to look back. Regret is an appalling waste of energy. You can't build on it. It's only good for wallowing. Catherine Mansfield. What do we live for, if it is not to make life less difficult for each other? George Eliot. It is a funny thing about life. If you refuse to accept anything but the best, you very often get it. W. Somerset Maugham. It always seems impossible until it's done. Nelson Mandela. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky. The only way to do great work is to love what you do. Steve Jobs. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. Albert Schweitzer. Life is a journey, not a destination. Ralph Waldo Emerson. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. Dalai Lama. It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Aristotle. The only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Always forgive your enemies. Nothing annoys them so much. Oscar Wilde. Sometimes the road less traveled is less traveled for a reason. Jerry Seinfeld. Never go to bed mad, stay up and fight. Phyllis Diller. If you can't be kind, at least be vague. Judith Martin. Misers are no fun to live with, but they make great ancestors. Tom Snyder. The statistics on sanity are that 1 out of every 4 Americans is suffering from some form of mental illness. Think of your 3 best friends. If they're okay, then it's you, Rita Mae Brown. If you want to know what God thinks of money, just look at the people he gave it to. Dorothy Parker. Doing nothing is very hard to do. You never know when you're finished. Leslie Nielsen. When in doubt, look intelligent. Garrison Keillor. Man is the only animal that laughs and weeps, for he is the only animal that is struck with the difference between what things are and what they ought to be. William Hazlitt. Man is the only animal that blushes or needs to. Mark Twain. No man who is in a hurry is quite civilized. Will Durant. I would rather sit on a pumpkin and have it all to myself than to be crowded on a velvet cushion. Henry David Thoreau. The best index to a person's character is how he treats people who can't do him any good, and how he treats people who can't fight back. Abigail Van Buren. Believe you can and you're halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. It does not matter how slowly you go as long as you do not stop. Confucius. The greatest glory in living lies not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. Nelson Mandela. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Eleanor Roosevelt. The only limit to our realization of tomorrow will be our doubts of today. Franklin D. Roosevelt. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. Lao Tzu. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. The only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Edmund Burke. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. The only impossible journey is the one you never began. Tony Robbins. In 3 words I can sum up everything I've learned about life. It goes on. Robert Frost. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans. John Lennon. Life is 10% what happens to us, and 90% how we react to it. Charles R. Swindoll. I don't know why people are so keen to put the details of their private life in public. They forget that invisibility is a superpower. Banksy. Morality is only moral when it is voluntary. Lincoln Steffens. A man always has 2 reasons for doing anything: a good reason and the real reason. J. Pierpont Morgan. The holy passion of friendship is of so sweet and steady and loyal and enduring a nature that it will last through a whole lifetime, if not asked to lend money. Mark Twain. One of the lessons of history is that nothing is often a good thing to do and always a clever thing to say. Will Durant. The statistics on sanity are that 1 out of every 4 Americans is suffering from some form of mental illness. Think of your 3 best friends. If they're okay, then it's you, Rita Mae Brown. There is more to life than increasing its speed. Mohandas K. Gandhi. You cannot do a kindness too soon, for you never know how soon it will be too late. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Life does not have to be perfect to be wonderful. Annette Funicello. The beautiful thing about learning is nobody can take it away from you. B.B. King. My father gave me the best advice of my life. He said, "Whatever you do, don't wake up at 65 years old and think about what you should have done with your life." George Clooney.